Oh, you're one of the lucky ones.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what my
Good
daughter.
evening, Madam Chair, you're now live.
Okay, good evening and welcome to the meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission. It's April 27th, 2021, and the time is 6 o'clock. The first order of business is conflict of, so I'm calling the meeting to order, right? And I want to welcome Vanessa Vega as our newest member. And the first item is conflict of interest. Does anybody have a conflict of interest with this agenda? If you do, could you please raise your hand? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes for February 23rd, 2021. I need a motion and a second to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes. This is Commissioner Gordon.
And then I'll second it, Commissioner Guerrero.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any corrections or changes? I have one. Last time I talked about CanMex corridor, C-A-N-M-E-X, and it turned out in the minutes to say Canamex, C-A-N-A-M-E-X. Can we fix that? It occurs like maybe 2 or 3 times. And it's just a surface level change, so we don't need a amendment or anything. It's just a little spelling error. So is that okay?
You can approve the Madam Chair. This is Catherine. You can approve the minutes with those changes, and then those will be modified.
Okay. Okay.
Madam Chair, I'll call the roll for you.
Yes, please.
Commissioner Bennett. This is for approval of the minutes.
I approve.
Commissioner Smith.
I approve.
Commissioner Guerrero.
Yes.
Commissioner Vega.
Okay.
You could abstain if you're not.
I actually read them all and went through everything.
Okay.
Commissioner Gordon
Yes.
and Chair Thomas.
Yes,
Your minutes are approved 6-0 with 1 absent.
thank you. Next on our agenda is postponements. We don't have any of those. After that is public participation. Do we have anybody for public participation tonight?
Commissioner Thomas, this is Catherine again for the record. We do have several attendees, but I don't see any hands up at this point in time. Looks like most of them are here for specific projects.
Right. Thank you. Old business, we have none. And so we're moving right along here to new business. And the first is the 523 Foster Road zone change. So I need a motion and a second, and then we can start the discussion.
All right, I'll make a motion that we approve item 1 on the agenda, the Foster Road change.
Is there a second?
This is Commissioner Bennett, and I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Catherine, do we have a presentation?
Commissioner Thomas, I will turn it over to Planner John Castillo for the presentation.
Thank you. Welcome, John.
Good evening, everyone. For the record, my name is John Castillo. I'm a planner with the City of Las Cruces. Today, I'll be presenting a zone change from R1A, which is our single-family medium density, to R4, multi-dwelling high-density limited retail and office for a property located at 523 Foster Road. And before I continue on, let me share my screen. Is everybody able to see the presentation?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. So current conditions at the property. The property is a vacant lot that encompasses 0.828 acres located at 523 Foster Road. It's currently zoned R1A. The property is adjacent to a mixed-use corridor, the El Paseo corridor, which is a commercial retail area. The property also encompasses mixed-use residential from medium to high density to the south and to the east, townhomes, apartment complexes, and more single-family dwelling units. As you can see right here, this is an image of the vacant property located at 523 Foster. Across the street, we have similar townhomes. We have apartment complexes. According to the zoning map, this is not the right one. I apologize about that. I don't know why these are different. They were right the other day. So the proposal, the applicant is requesting a zone change from R1A to R4 to propose development of a 24-unit townhouse apartments. This is an image of what the building footprint would look like. And these are conceptual drawings of the front elevation and the floor plan. So with further analysis, it does meet compliance with the 2001 zoning code. It's supported by Elevate Las Cruces comprehensive plan. The future development map locates the property within the urban neighborhood. It's near a mixed-use corridor. It also meets purposes and intent statements and the P&Z's decision criteria. At the time that this was created, there were no, all reviews were sent to all relevant agencies and departments. They all supported the zone change. All public notices were sent out to surrounding properties. No input was provided at the time of this presentation and at the time of the staff report. So today we're recommending approval. The request promotes the development of a vacant property. The proposed development will be consistent with the residential development and zoning throughout the surrounding areas. As mentioned previously, the subject property is located adjacent to a principal arterial roadway, which is a major mixed-use corridor. The proposed zone change will provide mixed housing types, styles, and living arrangements for families with different socioeconomic levels. The request is also supported by the Elevate Las Cruces comprehensive plan and meets the purpose and intent of the 2001 zoning code. Your options today are to vote yes to approve, vote no to deny, vote to amend, or vote to table.
Thank
Are there
you.
any questions?
Any questions or comment from the commissioners?
This is Commissioner Gordon. Not that it's critical, but it would have been nice, and I don't have it in my parcel, that we could have had a copy of the floor plan, so we could have had an idea of what they are planning to do there.
I did receive those a bit late after, but yes, I did mean to provide those with you.
Yeah. Well, next time perhaps maybe we can just scan it and send us an email.
Yes.
That'd be great. Yeah. Anything else? Any other commissioners? Any public comment? I don't think we have anybody from the public here. Okay, then I guess we'll have a roll call. Mr. Weir?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Bennett.
I vote to approve, meets Elevate Las Cruces, promotes development of the vacant property, and the other reasoning is my site visit as well.
Commissioner Smith.
I vote to approve based on compliance with Elevate Las Cruces. I did a site visit. I live very close to that area, and I think it's good. It meets, part of the plan to include, various economic levels. So I vote to approve.
Commissioner Guerrero.
I vote yes, based on it meeting the comprehensive planning, and as well, it's a good opportunity to provide more housing for families. So I definitely vote yes on that.
Commissioner Vega.
I vote to approve as well, based on the Elevate comprehensive plan and staff recommendation.
Commissioner Gordon?
I vote yes, based on the discussion, my site visit, the Elevate Las Cruces comprehensive plan, and it does remove another empty lot from that area and would provide nice housing for someone. So definitely I approve it.
Chair Thomas?
I vote yes, based on a site visit and complies with Elevate Las Cruces. And it will provide more density close to the El Paseo corridor, which we need to support retail and businesses there. And it's next door to a Montessori school. I didn't know that till I went to visit.
Madam Chair, the P&Z has recommended approval of that zone change to the City Council by a 6-0, one member absent vote.
Thank you very much. Our next item, item 2, 3300 West Picacho, request for a zone change. I need a motion and a second.
All right, this is Commissioner Gordon. I vote we approve item number 2, the 3300 West Picacho zone change.
And Commissioner Guerrero, I second that motion.
Thank you. Is there a presentation?
Commissioner Thomas, this is Catherine Harrison Rogers for the record. We'll go ahead and turn it over again to Mr. John Castillo, planner with the department.
Good evening once again, Madam Chair, Commission. Today we are going to request a zone change from A2, which is a rural agricultural district that was from the 1981 zoning code, to C2, which is our commercial medium intensity zoning district at 3300 West Picacho Avenue. Current conditions of the property, it currently encompasses 0.93 acres. It's located at 3300 West Picacho Avenue, which is considered a major arterial roadway. Currently, it is zoned A2. The property is along a major east-west corridor that runs through the city of Las Cruces. And the property encompasses residential housing to the northeast, commercial and industrial uses to the southeast and west. From the images here, this is a view from Roadrunner Lane of the subject property, as well as a view from West Picacho Avenue. Looking westbound on Picacho Avenue, you can see some vacant properties, as well as commercial further west. Directly adjacent to it is a residential property. Then looking eastbound on Picacho Avenue, there's more commercial development. This is a zoning map showing that it's A2. As you can see further west, it turns into commercial. Then you have surroundings of residential and commercial and industrial. So the owner is requesting a zone change from A2 to C2. They're expanding on potential uses such as commercial retail sales and institutional uses. It also facilitates compliance with the 2001 City of Las Cruces Municipal Code. Further analysis showed that it does provide compliance with the 2001 zoning code. It is supported by Elevate Las Cruces comprehensive plan. The future development map locates the property within the rural neighborhood, which does not support the C2 aspect of it, but it does support light commercial. Based on action CE 1.1.5, if we're to consider the appropriateness of future development, so the C2 would be considered an appropriate development or zoning designation for future development of that area. It's also located along a major east-west corridor. It does meet purpose and intent statements and the decision criteria. At the time of the staff report and the development of this presentation, there were no There was no public input from the surrounding properties. All reviews were sent to all relevant agencies and departments. All supported the zone change. Staff recommendation is an approval of the zone change based on the proposed zone change, which is consistent in the zoning with the zoning in the surrounding area. The request will also allow for the attraction and retention of businesses at the location through the expansion of potential uses while keeping with the standards of the C2 zone. The property is also located on a principal arterial roadway, which supports C2 zoning. Today you have your options, which are to vote yes for approval, no for denial. You can vote to amend or vote to table.
Thank you very much. Are there questions or comments from commissioners?
Yeah, this is Commissioner Guerrero. This is just curiosity. It's not going to change my vote. But do we know, like, is it retail, restaurant? Do we know what type of business they're hoping to rent out to? I mean, once they build it.
So at this moment right now, speaking with the property owner, and I believe they are in attendance today, so they may further elaborate on this. But as of this moment, it was kind of real brought into just retail sales.
And I have a question, John. There is a house already on this property, right?
Yes, there is a house currently on the property.
Yeah.
It used to be a church prior to 2011 or around 2011.
Oh, okay. Even though it was zoned rural.
Yes.
Okay.
Wait a minute, this is Commissioner Gordon. I have a question, John. At the back of the packet item with the comments from department review comments, there are three questions I would like to get an answer to. Number one, it says traffic engineering. It says yes with conditions, but no comments. What does that mean? What are the conditions that they're imposing that they would like to have?
So the Commissioner Gordon, Madam Chair, the comments that were provided from Hector were more based on the approval of New Mexico Department of Transportation.
Okay. All right. Well, it would have been nice just to put that in here if you have that information, because otherwise we're looking at this. They say yes with conditions. I would like to know what conditions they're talking about. And number two, the second one is engineering. Is he going to retain his runoff? Has the owner agreed to do this?
Yes. So, Commissioner Gordon, Madam Chair, that condition placed by engineering is more of for future development as to pertaining to keeping any runoff into on-lot ponding.
Okay, so I assume that the owner will abide by this decision.
Yes.
It has to. Then the last one, it says the property doesn't have Las Cruces utility, water, sewer, et cetera, et cetera. What is he going to do about that?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Gordon, once again, that comment was also based towards future development of the property to bring into compliance with city utilities.
Yeah, that's all well and good, but is the owner willing to comply to all these things? That's all I want to know. I mean, I can sit here and say you have to do this, and he doesn't do it.
Yes, no, the owner.
I want to know. Sorry, before I approve this, I would like to know that he's going to agree to do whatever has been suggested by the department.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Gordon, I would defer to the applicant who is present and does have the ability to respond to your questions. Mr. Mount?
Good evening, Madam Chair, Thomas, Commissioners. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, Mr. Mount, I have to swear you in.
Sure.
Okay, do you swear and affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under penalty of law?
It is.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Would you repeat the question, please?
Well, basically, number one, I just want to know whether or not whatever traffic engineering is going to suggest or want you to do, you will abide by. Whether or not you're going to maintain whatever requirements you're going to do to meet the runoff. And third, what are you going to do about utilities?
Commissioner Gordon, Madam Chair Thomas, That is correct. We will abide by all regulations set forth, and will pay for, number one, the extension of the utilities to attach to the nearest location. That will be on our dime if we do move forward with any type of development. But we will comply with everything that the planning department has stated.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Any more comments or questions from commissioners? Okay, I don't think we have any public input because there's nobody here. So and given there's no more comment from the commission, we'll go to voting. David Weir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Bennett.
I vote to approve based on staff recommendation, elevate Las Cruces. The zone change is also compatible with the surrounding area.
Commissioner Smith.
I vote to approve based on staff recommendation. Also, it meets with, it's consistent with the purpose and intent of the zoning ordinance. I did a site visit also. I was on a bike ride and I rode through that area. And, yeah, I mean, many of the farms are being converted to commercial properties out there. So I realize that just change is happening. So I vote to approve because it is consistent with what they're doing out there. So I approve. Sorry about the dogs.
Commissioner Guerrero.
I vote yes, based on it lining up with Las Cruces comprehensive Elevate plan and site visit as well. Yep, that's it.
Okay. Commissioner Vega.
I vote yes, based on the Elevate Las Cruces plan, site visits, and it would be nice to see some growth along the corridor there. Similar to Commissioner Smith, I do some biking by there as well.
Commissioner Gordon.
Based on the findings, recommendations by the department, our discussion, it does fit Elevate Las Cruces. It would be nice to see maybe some very good commercial in that area. Although I do like farming, but if it's going to be for some useful purpose, fine. So I therefore vote to approve.
Okay. Chair Thomas.
Yes, I vote yes, based on a site visit and fits the zoning code and it fits Elevate Las Cruces.
Madam Chair, the Planning and Zoning Commission has made a recommendation for approval of the zone change to City Council by 6-0 and 1 absent vote.
Thank you. The next is number 3. I noticed that we don't have on the agenda, we didn't have any approval of the agenda, so we didn't remove number 4. So I think we'll go ahead and do number 3 and then we'll remove number 4, if that works for everybody.
What are we going to do?
We're doing number 3, the master plan, but we're not doing the overlay zone district. But we didn't have, usually there's an item on the agenda that says approval of the agenda, but it got left off for some reason. And so we didn't do that.
Commissioner Thomas, members of the commission, just for clarification, the agenda template that we're working with is generated on a new system that we've been utilizing over the last year.
Yeah.
And that's maybe something that we could bring to the attention of the clerk to see if we could add that back in just so that we don't forget it in the future.
Right. But for our purposes tonight, I think we'll just go ahead and do number 3. And then when we get to number 4, we'll talk about, why it's being removed. Is that okay?
A quick question, who removed it? Nobody told me that.
Well, the staff is going to say why they want to remove it.
Oh, okay. Well, you know something.
Normally they would do that earlier in the agenda, but we didn't have that item, so.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, so now we're on number 3, West Mesa Industrial Park Master Plan. I need a motion and a second so we can start the discussion.
All right, this is Commissioner Gordon again. I vote that we approve item number 3, the West Mesa Industrial Park Master Plan.
Is there a second?
This is Commissioner Smith. I second that motion.
Thank you. Is there a presentation?
Commissioner Thomas, again, this is Catherine Harrison Rogers for the record. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Economic Development, specifically Celicia Villegas will be discussing, and then she will then introduce the consultants, and we, of course, the City of Las Cruces is the applicant, and then they will have a presentation for you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Good evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners. My name is Celicia Villegas. I'm with Economic Development. And as you may recall, staff and consultants were here late February at a work session and presented a draft of the West Mesa Industrial Park Master Plan and overlay. Per Elevate Las Cruces policy, this master plan and overlay was to be updated in order to develop strategies to stimulate business development in the area. And the regulatory framework will be brought forward at a future meeting. But we do have consultant Decker, Parrish, and Sabatini, which has taken your previous comments and suggestions, as well as those from city staff and other stakeholders, to finalize these documents, and they will be presenting a summary of the master plan tonight, highlighting the major updates and implementation strategies. So today, staff is requesting that the Planning and Zoning Commission make a recommendation to City Council on the updated plan. And with that, I will turn it over to Will Gleason from Decker, Parrish, and Sabatini.
Hi, Will, are you on?
Good evening. Good evening, Commissioners.
Okay, I need to swear you in. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you. And I have with me tonight Dan Guimon from Economic and Planning Systems and Kate Meliscus from Decker, Parrish, Sabatini. So you might want to swear them in too.
Okay.
So, while I pull up this presentation, so there we go.
Okay. Who are we swearing in first?
Dan Guimon.
Dan Keogh. Okay. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Okay. And who's our last person?
I'm Kate Meliscus.
Say that again.
Kate Meliscus.
Kate Meliscus. Do you swear and affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Thank you. Okay. Go ahead, Will.
Good evening. And so we're happy to bring this back to you. And we just to clarify that question that was raised earlier about why we're not also addressing the regulatory framework. We just have a few more issues to work out with staff. So we, Catherine suggested, and we agreed it would be better to come back to you with the actual piece that's going to be adopted as ordinance at a subsequent meeting. So that tonight we'll focus on the master plan itself, and then hopefully be back here next month with the actual regulatory piece of this. So as you all are familiar, we've been working on this for the better part of a year now. And it really was an economic development-led effort to revitalize the West Mesa Industrial Park and make it more competitive for jobs, make it more competitive for the various business opportunities that are that have emerged in the last couple of years and that have been there in the past decade. So the park has had some success, and we're trying to build on that success and diversify the opportunities that that the city and that residents can take advantage of. So part of our team was with Economic and Planning Systems, Dan Guimond, to really use the market analysis tools that they have to understand where the opportunities really lie with the park. And this built upon the Market Street report, as Dan will talk about. So these are our goals. And as you can see, we have updated, this is one of the goals in the plan was to update the name of the park, and that has been officially adopted by the city. And we have, in the last couple months, integrated that logo and that branding into this document so that it is fresh and reflects what the intent is for the park going forward. So, and we've really worked a lot with Andy Hume, along with everyone in the Economic Development Department, to figure out how to make this work better than it does now. At the same time, really promote environmental and energy efficiency. I know that some of you have read about autonomous vehicles, and this park is in a good place in terms of its location and its distance from the West Coast to be a hub for autonomous vehicle traffic on I-10. We did quite a bit of public outreach. We did what we were able to do in the year of the pandemic. This is the list of all the stakeholder interviews that we did. We start off with a larger stakeholder meeting that was held virtually. And we got a lot of good input from all of these one-on-one interviews that we did over the course of several weeks. It really helped us understand the competitive advantages and the challenges that the park has vis-a-vis other organizations, other competitor industrial areas in this state and in Texas, and just understanding where they can build on. And then we had an open house last month in which we got some very positive comments. We've also reached out to the state land office. Steve Varick was very complimentary and very encouraged by the new plan for the park. So I'm going to turn it over to Dan Guimond. I'm just going to talk a little bit about the market and real estate analysis as part of this plan.
Yeah, thanks, Will. As Will mentioned, we picked up on this project after a fairly comprehensive economic assessment and target industry study was done by Market Street Ventures back in 2019 for the city. And one of the recommendations was to do this master plan to update the land use and to come up with a more specific development and implementation strategy for the project. So we started with doing a market demand analysis for Las Cruces within the context of the larger economic region, primarily Doña Ana County. We projected demand for approximately 106,000 square feet of industrial space per year over the next 20 years, which equates to about 40% of that regional total, with the bulk of the remaining portion of it really concentrated in the border region around Santa Teresa. As a result of the demand for the Las Cruces area, it would require about 200 acres of industrial land to accommodate that projected growth. And as all of you know, there really aren't a lot of other sites designated for industrial development within the city. The park itself has ample adequate land to accommodate this future demand. The park is about 1,800 acres overall. It's about 500 acres of developed land, so there's somewhere between 1,200 and 1,300 acres of vacant land that can be potentially developed in the future. The Market Street report, as I said, assessed the strengths of the existing economy, the workforce, and identified 3 target industries for future development at the industrial park. So these 3 high priority industries are somewhat aspirational in the sense that they are the most desired development for development. They are aerospace, aviation, aerospace, and defense, and primarily UAS, which stands for unmanned aircraft systems, drones of various types, value-added agriculture, and advanced manufacturing. There's really, of those three categories, only a significant presence currently in the value-added agricultural category. The other two were defined based on the park and the city's competitive position as opportunities for future development, and much of the marketing and the marketing and implementation focuses on these three target industries. Next slide. At the same time, it's still important for the city and the park to pursue other industry sectors in terms of its development, because those three alone are not going to address all of the economic development needs of the city. There's still demand for traditional general manufacturing. There's still demand for logistics type uses. In fact, the logistics sector of the industrial market is the fastest growing one, and we would expect both of those sectors to also generate demand for development within I keep wanting to say West Mesa Industrial Park, but I'll get used to the new name here. I'll just call it LCIIP. One of the recommendations that we made to be incorporated into the master plan was to basically configure the park into separate districts so that different portions of the park could be tailored, marketed, directed towards the various sectors. So that being manufacturing, aviation, aerospace, and then value-added agriculture, the three primary designations that we collectively with DPS decided to designate within the master plan, as well as a cluster of commercial development around the interchange that is more for commercial services that would serve both the industrial park as well as the airport. So that's incorporated into the plan. As Will mentioned, that there is also in the master plan a strong sort of implementation strategy component of the project, and the major sort of foci of the implementation plan. Some of the major recommendations were to appoint a full-time property and sales manager to streamline the sales process at the park, to develop target industry brochures that would be then incorporated into a dedicated park website, to, in both cases, to really increase the visibility of the park and to provide the data and information that prospective companies and entrepreneurs would be looking for, and then to come up with a branding strategy for the park. These additional points will be developed a little more specifically in the implementation strategy component that will close this presentation. Thanks, Will.
Thanks, Dan. So, this is and I know that you've received this in your packet. This is the master plan that is the subject of tonight's review. I'm not going to go through it page by page, but I'm sure you all have read it cover to cover in the last week. But, I think it has a lot of good information going forward for both the city and for current users and potential tenants in the park. It's structured like many master plans, with addressing existing conditions, opportunities, constraints, our process for developing the master plan, and then the actual land use framework and implementation goals. So, and that framework was really as Dan discussed, is what was informed by that market analysis. So this is the big change from one of the big changes from the existing West Mesa Industrial Park plan. And that is that there is some more specificity to where, to what you can do in different parts of the park. So within these districts, there is a lot of overlap in terms of industrial uses, but there's some targeted uses that you can do in certain parts of the park that you cannot do in other parts of the park. And the commercial uses are really concentrated in that area right around the interchange. Those are the red parcels there. The purple are the areas that are targeted for manufacturing, the green for value-added agriculture, and the yellow on the north side for airport-related uses. So we did quite a few iterations of this, and we refined this since we were last before you. But I think this helps both the city and helps people that want to establish employment uses in the park as to what this could be in the future and where they fit in within that framework. And then this is just the illustrative version of that, showing what potential future build out could look like, the orange being existing structures and the white being proposed or very, very much conceptual, but to give a sense of what that build out could look like sometime in the future. And then this is our strategic matrix and our implementation plan. And we have a couple subsequent slides that will, so you don't have to squint and figure out what each of these lines are saying. But generally, we broke it into short-term implementation goals and longer-term implementation goals here, some of which are already completed and some of which will require significant capital investment. So we try to do a mix of things that can be accomplished now and things that may require a more pressing need, like a prospective tenant. So some of these short-term implementation priorities include completing Rocket Drive here east to Crawford, and we really targeted the parcels that have the most immediate development potential, that just need a little more access, that may already have utilities to them, and trying to figure out where the shortest path to new development would be there. And then the management side, I believe Celicia is going to be luring new tenants to the park and devoting a good amount of our time to this. So I think that you have a really good person in place to really help be kind of the tip of the spear in terms of marketing and responding to inquiries on the park. The branding, as we said, we're well on our way on that. We need some new signage out at the park. And then the marketing, of course, can really help to provide timely information and then really to partner with some of the industry groups to really elevate the profile of the park and capitalize on the momentum that we have now. So, and then longer term, there's more in terms of extension of roadways. There's a landscape plan for Crawford Boulevard that we are including in our recommendations to help connect the airport to the park itself. There's some roundabouts. And then lastly, we do have a proposal for a multi-tenant spec building that the city would invest in and design and have built. So that's by far the most capital intensive recommendation here. And I think you can build upon the success and decide if that's a good investment for the city or not. So our next steps are to hopefully go to council, really to make sure that we've answered all your questions. We hope to come back to you with the part 2, the regulatory framework, and also have that adopted by the end of June. So with that, I will stand for questions and turn it back over to Celicia.
Thank you, Will. Just to follow up on that, as Will said, some of those implementation strategies have already begun. The city staff has procured a marketing company to develop a branding strategy, so we're waiting on that. We're looking at doing a site certified program to better understand and to market the shovel-ready sites for site selectors and potential companies coming in. We also, what else? I'm trying to look at your goals here.
Does that help?
Yes, and we are in talks with the landscape consultant that did the airport to work on initially some of the entrance, to improve the entrances there at the park. And we actually do have a meeting this Thursday with the consultants for the Roadrunner Transit. They're going to be going over the 5-year plan. So I'm looking forward to that discussion on transportation. I don't know if Griselda is on, if she wants to add anything.
Madam Chair, Griselda Martinez, Director of Economic Development. No, Celicia, I think you covered all the elements.
Griselda, we can't hear you. There's something like fluttering.
Madam Chair, can you hear me?
That's much better. Thank you.
Okay. Madam Chair, members of the Commission, I don't have anything else to add. I believe between the 3 presentations, all materials have been covered for this group. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioners, are we ready to hear from commissioners now?
This is Commissioner Gordon. This Commissioner Gordon. I'll start it off.
Thank you, Commissioner Gordon.
Right.
Can we take down the screen viewing? Unless, do we need
leave that up? Well, leave that up. That's important.
All right, good. Can you put it back up, Will?
Yes.
Thanks.
Okay, that's sort of okay. I like the other one when it showed all the different type of buildings and everything. Another screen. That's good.
There,
there you go. That's fine.
Okay.
One you just had.
One behind that.
Back up one.
Okay.
That's fine. Okay. Now these are just observations. I'm just looking at these things and I'm thinking about, for example, I don't like to make a parallel to anything, but my mind goes back to, for example, Apodaca Park. The city has designated an area of land which used to be the Las Cruces Country Club, and they set up a plan, a blueprint for what the city would like to have in there. Now, basically what you've done here is the same thing. You've set up some type of a blueprint, and it's not certainly etched in stone, as to what you'd like to see based on the different roads and the areas of what you'd like to have as being put in there by commercial, industrial, or whatever. Now, what happens, for example, if any one of these particular areas where you have designated something that isn't going to be what someone would like to have and would be willing to take a chunk of land and just cut out what you're planning? What does that do to the whole plan in the sense that, now this sort of changes things a lot? Do you understand what I'm trying to ask?
Yes. Madam Chair, Commissioner Gordon, I've never done a master plan that didn't change. And so this is meant to be a framework. And if there's an opportunity that seems like it fits with the park and that the city's behind, we can change that. And the framework is meant to be flexible so that we're not trying to say you have to go onto parcel X, that there's quite a bit of overlap in terms of land uses. And we're just trying to strike the right balance between creating more organization than there is there now, but also being able to respond to opportunity.
Okay, I do understand that, but I'm just saying, in my mind, it's important because something could come in and just change this thing completely. It could just turn it upside down. I would like to see that this whole area can be developed to the point of where we could really do something up here. All right, this is cool. And my second item is, who's rattling papers?
I don't know. Someone's making a lot of noise.
Sounds like water.
Okay. I'll tell you another thing that I believe. Page 73 and 74, there's just 2 pages here in this whole proposal that I believe is the key to the success of the Innovation and Industrial Park. If we don't have tremendous economic development here by getting in people or companies or industry that could do something that really will take advantage of this land and bring a lot of economic development into the area, this thing will become a moot point and nothing will ever happen. I don't know whether economic development has tried, like it says they're going to have a website and they want to do advertising, but what I've read there, it seems that they have just sort of localized their interest in surrounding areas. Has there been any attempt just to get a feel for what's out there in the rest of the country? Perhaps maybe in California, Nevada, where there's a lot of things that are moving out of there because of taxation and a tremendous amount of population, the ability not to move, to be able to entice somebody to come here where we have 10, we have the railroad, we have the airports, we're close to everything. And we have good weather, we have a lot of things to offer. I don't know if that's premature at this point in order for economic development to get a sense of feeling as to where we can be with this, because without that happening, this thing just can't work.
Madam Chair, I believe that there are a couple of other staff members that have had their hands raised, specifically Griselda Martinez, and I believe Celicia may have had something to add as well.
Okay, I can't see that on my screen, so you want to just call on them, Catherine?
That's fine. Griselda's had her hand up for a while. Griselda?
Yes, thank you, Catherine. Madam Chair, Commissioner Gordon, the first question addressing, expanding on what Will already answered on when you talk about the blueprint, the major difference between this plan and the Apodaca blueprint that you referenced to is that the defined goals are within city-owned land. Apodaca blueprint, it's a privately owned parcel, and so the city has influence, but not the final say on that. Within Las Cruces Innovation and Industrial Park, we do have the ability to make final decisions on what the uses of the land may be, but as Will mentioned, we are aiming at opportunities and to utilize the master plan as the guiding tool for those opportunities. In terms of the recruitment efforts to the industrial park, we have, Celicia touched on a couple of those, but 2 years ago, we actually included in our Mesilla Valley Economic Development partnership, we have an agreement with them to do recruitment for export-based jobs type of companies. And 2 years ago, we actually added deliverables specific to the industrial park. And that has led to, right now, we have 4 different leads that are interested in locating at the industrial park, plus a LIDA project that was approved by City Council a couple of weeks ago. And so we expect that those efforts will continue to lead results. As Alicia mentioned, we are launching a marketing strategic planning effort specific to the industrial park for economic development purposes. And so we will utilize the materials that come from that effort into what you mentioned about national efforts to recruit and build excitement about the opportunities at Las Cruces Innovation in the industrial park. So We will definitely continue to work with the airport, as we have, for instance, on the landscaping effort, and continue to leverage upon the opportunities in the targeted industries efforts for both of those physical assets. Madam Chair?
Thank you, Griselda.
Thank you.
More question? Anybody else, any other commissioners that want to comment or ask questions?
Commissioner Thomas, again, this is Catherine for the record. I did want to let you know that we do have an attendee, Mr. Gregory Shervanek from the public, who has had his hand up. I'm not quite sure if you're ready to open it up to public discussion, but I did want to let you know since we were unable to see the raised hands.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Well, let's see if we have any more commissioners first, and then we'll go to the public. Any more commissioners with questions or comments? No. Okay, I have several questions and comments. So I was wondering, generally we get a PRC report, and I know this went to the Economic Development PRC, but we didn't get a report from them. Is there anything from that meeting that we need to know about?
Madam Chair?
Yeah, go ahead, Griselda.
Madam Chair, Griselda Martinez for the record. I'm not aware of any specific reports. The presentation made to the EDPRC was to provide an overview of the master plan efforts. The action items from the PRC were specific to the selection of the preferred logo and the change of the name. And so after the Economic Development PRC meeting, the same two action items were taken to City Council in a work session. Mm-hmm. That was the actionable items from this master plan.
Okay, so that's how that occurred. Thank you for that information. Under strategic goals, you have improve the LCII image and visibility, integrate LCIIP with the airport, leverage economic development partnerships with Movida and the Borderplex Alliance. Last time we talked about what's in the Santa Teresa Border Area Transportation, the STABAT plan, and about how they discovered that Arizona, Texas, and California all have plans that work on what we call a CAN-MEX corridor that results in economic development planning that goes all the way through the state. We're working with different groups to try to get that plan updated. So I was wondering if it could be partnerships with Movida, the Borderplex Alliance, and the development of a CAN-MEX corridor, so that this work, if we can get to that, updating that plan and working on that statewide economic development plan, that, you know, this effort will be included.
Madam Chair, Griselda Martinez for the record. If I'm understanding correctly, your question is whether or not we would be willing to be participants in this planning effort you're mentioning?
Yes, you have it listed as leveraging partnerships with Movida and the Borderplex Alliance. And if the STABAT program gets updated, there will be a sort of county-wide group to work on that. And so I'm asking if we can include that, so that would be something, another way to advertise and increase efforts at this location.
So go ahead, Will.
I was just going to say it seems fine to add. We can add that specific language to the strategic goals, and we can add it to the implementation table as well.
Thank you. Okay. I have one other thing I'd like to add there too. So I want to say that I sit on the District Workforce Connections Board. That's 7 counties in the southwestern part of the state. And I'm also part, as Griselda is, with the Workforce Talent Collaborative. And it's very clear to us that the biggest problem for these kinds of economic development projects is the lack of a skilled workforce. And this goes round and round and round all the time. There are big things happening at the state level in terms of how they might reorganize workforce development. I found out at a meeting today that we might have the ability to actually use some of the training programs at El Paseo. They have some really excellent training programs. We might be able to do a plan that sits over the district. And so I would like to suggest that another strategic goal be the same language, leverage economic development partnerships, but say with local workforce development programs.
Madam Chair, I'm fine with that, and I don't know if Dr. Martinez has anything to add to that.
Madam Chair, I would recommend for us to, in the previous recommendation, to just expand local and regional partners for economic and workforce development, if you would be amenable to that.
Sure. Yeah, as long as we get the workforce development in there. Okay, so along those same lines, let me see where the rest of my notes are here. Oh, I know. So of the 3 areas that we picked, aviation, aerospace, and defense. Well, again, as you know, Griselda, the Workforce Talent Collaborative has already done business roundtables in that area. And so that's some information that probably will be useful. No changes. I just wanted to mention that. Then when you get to the implementation, you have short-term 1 to 5 years, and you have hire or appoint an LCIIP property manager. So again, I'm concerned about the workforce. I'm concerned about understanding what our workforce is like here. For example, in Santa Teresa, they have a very, very high turnover. Sometimes some companies 50%. One of the companies down there recently discovered that if they weren't quite so strict about being a little late or missing a day once in a while, they could dramatically cut their turnover. And that has to do with understanding the workforce around here. We have a lot of families with only 1 car. Several people have to get to several different places. Sometimes people don't always get to work on time. Sometimes the car breaks down. They miss a day. So would it be possible for this property manager to maybe be called a project manager, so it's a little broader kind of leadership there that would, include, like we just have said in the earlier part, working with workforce people and blending that into the management of this project?
Madam Chair, Griselda Martinez for the record. Actually, that item, Celicia Villegas is our point of contact, because the industrial park is one element to the economic development department. We work internally to ensure that all the elements to supporting the growth of an existing business there, or the relocation to a business to the industrial park, we work as a team to ensure that each one of us is bringing the piece that we are in charge of to this bigger discussion. So the title actually will like internally, we are working with our human resources team to determine what title is most appropriate for the job descriptions. But I believe the objective of number 3 is to have a designated point of contact to coordinate all efforts related to the industrial park, and serve as a liaison to the rest of the resources. So that was the vision behind that specific item.
So it sounds to me like the person, Cecilia, or whoever that person turns out to be, actually is doing more than just managing property. So
correct.
That project manager could be a better title because it would make it easier for all those things to be included.
If that makes a difference to bring clarity, we can work on a different title. Sure.
Yeah, I just think project manager is more broad, and we know that managing this project is going to be a lot more than just managing the property. I just want to make sure we have a broad enough vision here. And the final thing is, we talk a lot about transportation options, but when we get to the implementation for the short term, 1 to 5 years, there's nothing in that 1 to 5 years about transportation options, developing transportation options to bring workers to the park. And I know from working with the companies in Santa Teresa that nearby affordable, workforce housing and transportation are their 2 biggest problems. And we're currently working with them to provide vans to bring workers from Las Cruces to jobs in Santa Teresa with funding we got from the legislature. So I would like to see in this short-term implementation something about the transportation, because I think that's very important. And I don't know if you're already working with Enterprise. I know we've talked about that a couple of times. Roadrunner they're talking about some micro transit in another project, and that might be a good thing for this area. The South Central Regional Transit Group is using these vans to Santa Teresa as a jumping off point for, what we hope will be a lot more van pools and car pools around the county to bring people to jobs, so that there are lots of transportation options. So I'm asking if we could have something under the 1 to 5 years about developing transportation options.
Madam Chair, that sounds like a great suggestion to me. So we will work with city staff to craft that language and put it in the short term.
Okay, so those are my 3 things: the project manager and the transportation and the adding the workforce development in under the strategic goals. Are these things, Catherine or Robert, that we need to do as amendments, or can they be just accepted on sort of a handshake that we work on this?
Madam Chair, this is Catherine for the record. I would encourage you to make those condition of approval, and that you would have to amend your original motion that was made prior to this discussion. Also wanted to point out that he's been very patient, but Commissioner Guerrero has his hand up, and it appears he would like to add something.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Guerrero.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't have my hand up that long, just because as Commissioner Thomas was speaking, I was thinking of a couple different things. I'm like, first of all, I think on paper, it sounds like a great project. I share kind of some of the concerns I think that Commissioner Gordon had about, because I remember like the Apodaca Park situation. And even though it's a thing from the past, I kind of remember that, and I also kind of fear that, what if this happens? So my main concern has to do more with like the branding and the marketing part of it. I know you guys mentioned that Movida is going to as well be helping, and you guys are going to have the website and hopefully attract some good tenants. But I was just wondering if maybe you guys could go a little more in detail. Like what efforts are being done. Do you guys have any preliminary commitments from businesses? Because this is going to be a pretty big investment from the city. So I think if we are going to move forward, I think we need to we need to have more of a guarantee that it's actually going to work and it's not going to flop. So that was my main question. If maybe you guys could fill us in a little bit on the branding and marketing plan.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Madam Chair, would you like me to address that comment?
Sure.
Madam Chair, Griselda Martinez for the record, Commissioner Guerrero. Actually, the master plan, as I mentioned before, we see it as the guiding roadmap for us to go step by step. For the marketing effort, what we're doing right now is a small contract for the planning. And then as part of that, we will receive recommendations on how to best market on the targeted industries that have been identified, leveraging on the work that we have started, but really expanding upon the opportunities to send a message in a very focalized and intentional ways for recruitment. We currently don't have any commitments from businesses other than the leads that I mentioned before, based as a result of the work that we have started. But it is important for additional context to the work at the industrial park. As it has been mentioned before, the master plan was done in the 90s, and it hadn't been updated in that term. And so the industrial park actually was created with the vision to leverage upon the opportunities tied to the airport. And so we, at this point, we have been working very intentionally for the last 2 years to revive that vision and to be very intentional about putting practices in place. And so we expect that with all the late work that we have done up to this point, the growth is catalyzed to exponential growth. I think we've been doing a lot of preparation up to this point, and this master plan would be the last pieces that we have in the works before we turn all of our efforts to do that full force recruitment effort.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'm sorry, I can't find the hand here, but I just wanted to thank you, Griselda. I wanted to reiterate some of the things she just said, and with your concern, like on the Apodaca, as Griselda mentioned before, that is not city-owned property, and we have a big bulk of the land there at the industrial park. The city does. That's a big difference because we're able to have a vetting process, and we've begun that process. We have had a letter of intent on one parcel, and we're implementing measures and what economic development goals are out there for, say, the number of jobs we want to see for a specific area, and to be able to define those successes out there. And I think that just having that amount of land and being able to have that vetting process is a big difference from what you'll see in for say Apodaca plan. So
yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And I know, I mean, I know it's not the same as Apodaca, completely different situation. But I really appreciate you clarifying that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam
Anybody
Chair,
else? Yes.
Andy Hume with city staff also has his hand up to speak. And then Commissioner Gordon has raised his hand.
Okay. Andy?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the Commission. My name is Andy Hume. I'm the Airport Administrator with Las Cruces International Airport. And I really appreciate the thoughtfulness and the conversation that's going on. And I really appreciate the time and energy that's gone into the development of this plan. One of the things that I want to point out in response to some of the questions and concerns about business development, one of the things that I'm very proud of at the airport is that over the past 3 years or so, we've seen 7 new businesses either relocate from another area or start up at the airport. Now they're small businesses. We're talking 1 to 7 employees. But the fact that we've seen, even in the last couple of years, some of these small businesses get going, I think shows the potential in our area for business growth. We do have some other businesses, as Dr. Martinez mentioned, that are expressing interest. We can't get into, of course, some of the details on those, some of the leads that are being explored, but suffice it to say the attention is there. The attention from a wide variety of sources. Certainly on the airport side, we're looking at aeronautical and aerospace types of companies. But the potential is there, and I think that seeing the renewed attention on the city side in planning and investment in infrastructure that we're seeing both at the airport and in the Innovation Industrial Park is really bringing attention to our area. So I wanted to share that with you all. I appreciate the opportunity to share those comments.
Thank you, Andy. I also want to comment that Andy Hume has brought great energy and ideas and advancement to this city at the MPO and several years working with the downtown. And so now that he's moved to the airport, you can see once again how effective he can be. So we appreciate the work you're doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other commissioners? I think Commissioner Gordon was next.
No, I've decided not to say anything. Thank you.
Okay. And then Catherine, you said there was somebody in the public, an attendee that wanted to speak?
Yes, Madam Chair, Mr. Greg Shervanek is in attendance and does have Gregory Shervanek.
Gregory Shervanis. Okay, Mr. Shervanis, we need to swear you in.
We're
Are you
fine,
there?
Yes, Madam Chair, go ahead.
Yeah, do you swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under penalty of law?
Yes, I do.
Okay. We welcome your comments.
Yes, my comments are, I attended the March 8th public input. After that, and I'm glad that Andy Humes came on because I contacted him concerning whether or not testing of UVAs would be possible away from the airport if an industry were to set up that kind of facility in part of the park. He was kind enough to write me back, and he said that he felt there would be plenty of space for that kind of industry. Following that conversation with him, Councilor Sorg at the city council meeting in his comment section made mention that his sitting on the Medita board, there were several not signed yet, people interested in the industries using UVAs out in the new industrial park. I also had, since cannabis was not legalized at this particular time during the March meeting and after, I was just wondering if the added value agricultural areas would be possibly up and running, and would there be any potential problems concerning zoning, since cannabis is now legal, but will be legally legal next year in April. And Dr. I had also an email with Dr. Martinez concerning some of those topics. So I wish Commissioner Gordon, I believe there is a lot of interest now for sections of that park. They're just not ready to sign on the dotted line. And I wish to thank you for the time to put my public input.
Thank you. Did you want a response to any of that?
No, it's basically FYI because, well, I would like to add one more thing. In the discussion of Mavita and you were talking, Chair Thomas, you were talking about working with the Borderplex and Mavita. Mavita is up for the El Paso Electric $20 million funding source, which would mean $1 million each year. And they are probably the top applicant at this particular time. They are not assured of it, but if they receive that from El Paso Electric as the funding organization, I believe you will see many more businesses coming to the table.
So are you talking about funding Mavita in the work that they're already doing, but so that they can do more of the same type?
I would prefer Dr. Martinez or you to look at the work session of Monday of this week to have details concerning that, or since you have connections with Mr. Hummer, that you might want to basically speak to him directly. But the way my understanding is from the work session is El Paso Electric is offering $20 million over the next 20 years and has taken applications already. Mavita seems like a good fit for them as the funding organization, and therefore they will have the ability to attract more and fund more from that $1 million. But again, I would prefer that you get the correct details directly from Mr. Hummer or from Dr. Martinez.
Well, that sounds good. Certainly, you know, there are connection to what's going on nationally and to making the people, the companies and people across the country aware of what we have here. So that'd be great. Griselda, did you want to add anything?
Yes, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chernovic. Just to elaborate on the comment on the fund, the El Paso Electric was acquired last year by a company, and as a result of that acquisition, they committed $1 million for the next 20 years to come to Doña Ana County to support economic development. The work session that took place yesterday was from John Hummer, who explained what type of projects they would be supporting. John Hummer is one of 3 board members who would be deciding upon this funding. He mentioned that Mavita had been an applicant for the first round, but he did not disclaim any other details in terms of funding, commitment, or others. This fund is supposed to be $1 million per year, and based on my understanding is that there would be some type of application on an annual basis for projects to be considered. So just wanted to add that additional piece of information to Mr. Chovanec's comments.
Thank you for that clarification. That's we'll be looking forward to hearing more about that. Any more comments from commissioners or from the public? Okay, I would like then to ask for support from the other commissioners that we approve this project with conditions that we add to the strategic goals language about workforce and other economic projects, and that we add to the implementation matrix for the first 1 to 5 years to change the property managers to project manager and to add information about transportation options.
Yes, Madam Chair, I will move that motion forward that we approve this with all the changes you just mentioned. I don't have them in front of me, else I would list them all.
Close enough. Anyone else? Discussion on this suggestion? Okay, David, I think we might have to have a vote then, right?
Madam Chair, I'd recommend that you get a second on your amendments, and then we vote on the amendments and then vote on the overall motion.
This is Commissioner Bennett, and I'll second that.
Thank you.
Okay. I'll do, Madam Chair, this is David Weir. I'll do a roll call on the amendment.
Thank you.
Commissioner Bennett?
I vote to approve.
Okay. I don't believe you need to provide any justification either.
Yeah, thank you.
Commissioner Smith?
I vote to approve.
Commissioner Guerrero?
I approve.
Commissioner Vega?
I approve.
Commissioner Gordon?
I approve.
And Chair Thomas?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So you have approval of your amendment. If you'd like, I'll go ahead and take the roll to recommend approval of the the Las Cruces Industrial and Innovation Park Master Plan.
Great. Now we're voting on the initial motion.
Yes.
Thank you.
Commissioner Bennett?
Vote to approve.
Commissioner Smith?
I vote to approve.
Commissioner Guerrero?
Yes, I vote to approve as well.
Okay. Commissioner Vega?
I vote to approve.
Commissioner Gordon?
I approve.
And Chair?
I approve.
Madam Chair, the Planning and Zoning Commission has recommended approval of this master plan to the City Council.
Thank you. So now we're down to number 4, Las Cruces Innovation and Industrial Park Overlay Zone District Regulations. So this is the regulatory framework. So Catherine, do you want to talk about why you want to remove this, or whoever's appropriate?
Absolutely. Thank you, Commissioner. Yes. So staff has had several discussions over the last couple of weeks with the consultants, and while everybody's made it very clear all of the concerns addressed, there were still some lingering issues that we just want to work the kinks out of before we take the final version to you. We were more comfortable in maybe spending another month looking at those and refining those, and we're requesting that this particular amendment be postponed to a date to be determined. We think that will be next month. We're fairly positive that will be next month. But that's what we're requesting at this point. We would prefer to hold off on a discussion of that until those small kinks are worked out.
Okay, so can we handle that by making a motion that we postpone it to a date to be determined?
Yes, ma'am. I believe that would be.
Okay, somebody want to make that motion?
All right, this
Commissioner
Smith.
Go ahead. And that we postpone.
Postpone number 4. We're losing you.
It sounded like Commissioner Smith did make the motion to.
Okay.
He did.
Yeah. Is there a second?
Commissioner Guerrero, since I'm off the mic, I'll go ahead and second it.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, can we have a vote?
Madam Chair, I'll take the vote for you. This is on the motion to table this to a date to be determined. Commissioner Bennett? Okay. Commissioner Smith?
I approve postponement.
Commissioner Guerrero?
Yes, I approve.
Okay. Commissioner Vega?
I approve.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
And Chair Thomas?
Yes. Okay, so now we're to commission commentary. Anybody on the commission have comments to make? General things that are coming up or information you'd like to share? Well, I'll just repeat what I said earlier, that the South Central Regional Transit District did get funding to start van pools to take workers to jobs in Santa Teresa. And I just got off the phone a little while ago with David Armijo, who's the director, and he sees that as just setting up the first model so that they can orchestrate van and car pools to jobs, lots of places around the county. So that would include this new industrial park. So I'll keep you informed on that. Anything else? Okay. Staff announcements.
Madam Chair, this is David Weir. I know Larry usually makes a few announcements, so I won't go into near the detail that he does, but I know he always covers the construction activity report with you. Just wanted to share with you that we're continuing to see very robust activity, and our permits are higher than they were this time last year, and we don't see any change in that in the foreseeable future. Just to keep you up to date on a couple of projects that the department's working on. One of the items is the land development code revisions. We've had the kickoff meeting with staff, and they are working on stakeholder input and meetings. And so in May, you as the Planning and Zoning Commission members will be invited to that. The consultants are also putting together a public involvement plan, and that includes periodic updates to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and the proposal is to handle that with joint meetings with the Planning and Zoning Commission. So at roughly on 5-month intervals. So you'll be be kept up to date on the activities taking place with that project. On the East Lowman plan, you had a very successful joint meeting with the Planning and Zoning Commission. The consultants are going back, finishing that plan, and they will be bringing that forward to staff. And then our hope is that we get it to you for a recommendation to City Council in May. Just one last thing I wanted to share with you. The city is working on adopting their budget. The budget that was proposed for the Community Development Department includes continued implementation of Elevate Las Cruces. It includes all the funding for the development code, land development code update. It includes some funding for redevelopment activities, specifically for the El Paseo and South Solano corridors. And it also continues funding for active transportation efforts. So with that, I wanted to share that with you. And if you had any other comments you wanted me to relay to Larry.
I want to add one more thing that I forgot to talk about. In a meeting with Workforce Connections today, their one-stop operator said they're just getting calls all the time about from businesses that are expanding, that they're looking for people for jobs, that even some fast food restaurants are raising their hourly wage in order to get workers. So there's a lot going on all of a sudden. So I think that bodes well for this industrial area as well. So. Anything else from anybody else? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
It's Commissioner Gordon. I make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Commissioner Bennett, and I'll second the motion.
Okay. If there's no nays coming, then we are adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming and for a good discussion, and we appreciate your work.
Have a good evening.
Have a
Thank
good evening,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Everybody take care.
Good night.
Good night.